After over a month away, we are back to the ovals, baby. Miles the Monster awaits NASCAR as we hit the Dover Motor Speedway for a mile of concrete fun. Hang with us down the back road. We'll tell you what we like.
It's a non-points race, but it is a short race. Checker flag. That's all this race is.
Two from the States.
All right, and welcome down the back road in between media's NASCAR betting program. It's a beautiful time to be alive as NASCAR returns to the Delaware Bay for Cup and Xfinity Series racing at Dover Motor Speedway. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, absolutely buzzing as the summertime continues, and I'm joined by my esteemed co-host. He's a veteran of the motorsports betting scene, the host of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, and yes, an American hero. He's Hot Rod Villagomez. Rod, how are you coming off some on-site coverage in beautiful wine country this past weekend, man?
I'm a little bit more dark than when I went out, if you can believe that or not. A lot of sun out there in Sonoma. It was, Seth, there's one thing that you can say about NASCAR, and that they allow you as a press member to have access to almost everything. You know, going to Pocono, they just roll out the red carpet for you. And I adore that about this sport. I had so much fun. I was around in the pits. I got to see Jimmy Johnson. I asked Jimmy, look, I know we're professional journalists, right? I get that. I understand. I know that there comes to be a level of professionalism that you get with that. But man, when you stare your favorite driver in the eye and he's looking back at you like 10 feet away and answering your question, that little kid comes out inside of you.
Yeah.
You get a little kitty. But yeah, Seth, overall, Sonoma was a fantastic experience. Can't say enough about the folks over at the Sonoma Raceway and the what they put on and the show they put on for us. And man, Seth, you got to come out. You got to come out and you got to hang out at Sonoma with me.
Hey, dude, it's on the bucket list. I know a ton of media members actually fight because that's a weekend they want to cover. I know a lot of team executives like to be out there in beautiful Sonoma County as well. So it is on the bucket list. And tonight we will also talk about Sonoma, everything you picked up as we react to the betting of the weekend, how the chips fell. We'll also get into some news and a championship odds update. We'll also look at Dover, break down the Monster Mile. We also got parking garage props for you. That's our top picks for the Cup and Xfinity Series. As always, before we get going, shout out to the IBT family for everyone who's tuning in with us tonight. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. Also, make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you're new. Come be a part of our story as we continue to grow. Get on the ground floor. We appreciate y'all. And it looks like we had Marcus who was hanging out just about 4 hours before we went live, saying who's everyone's pick for Dover. Once again, going with his guy, Kris Bell. Coach checking in right after 4:30 as well, saying he's predicting Chase Elliott will win this weekend. Great to see that, man. And Stan saying he's all in on Alex Bowman this weekend. Good to see you, Stan. Thanks for hopping in. And John, about 30 minutes before live, saying Kyle Larson will win at Dover. And Nick in the chat as well with us as we pop off tonight, saying my Cup winner will be either Bowman, Custer, or Gragson. Some moonshots from our guy Nick there, Rod.
A little spicy going on. I mean, look, I get Custer's had some good runs here, but I don't know if they've been winning runs. But hey, listen, you know, if the last few weeks have proven anything to us, is that we have no clue what's happening in NASCAR. So I'll take a Custer or a Gragson long shot, I guess.
And if you guys want more of us, make sure you're checking out the IBT Racing family for $3.99 per month or $36 for the entire season. That's less than $1 per race. You're going to get access to our exclusive weekly betting model. You're also going to get in the Discord with myself, Rod, Elliott, our producer Nicolette, our whole gang over here at IBT, all our family and friends, and Ryan from iFantasyRacing.com. You're also going to get entry into our giveaways. And speaking of giveaways, we right now have a Joey Logano signed polo going to the next new member of the IBT Racing family. That's courtesy of our member Trav, who was very, very kind, donated this once again. The link to that is in the episode description. We have some more stuff that we're about to add to not only the IBT Racing family, but we're also about to launch a football version of this as well that will come with the IBT Racing family, all for one price. So you don't have to re-up or make a new subscription. It's all under that stuff. And we're gonna have some interactive things going on. So it's gonna be really, really fun. So hope you guys get in there now. Wow, the going is hot. And also make sure you're checking out the audio version of the program as well over on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review on Apple. We'll send you a little 164th Diecast mystery box. That could be a little fun addition to your collection, and we would greatly appreciate the review, or at least in the search now. If you search NASCAR betting on Apple, you have to scroll. Rod's up there at the top still holding it down, him and Full Tank Phil. And our guys over from the Angle Pursuit podcast, but we're on the list. But we don't want to scroll anymore. We need to get to the top of the list. The easiest way we can do that, if you subscribe and just give us a quick 5-star rating, tell us what you like about the show, even leave us a mailbag question. We'll be sure to get to that as well. And also shout out to Talkin' West Tennessee. That's our radio syndicate partner at 101.5 FM that premieres every 8 p.m. on Saturday. We appreciate you guys down there in the great state of Tennessee. The link to check out more of their content is in the episode description as well. And I know this is a NASCAR show, but I did want to make sure I point you guys in the direction of our website for some fantastic written content, whether that's racing, betting tips, or whether you're trying to get in the football side of the thing, PGA, or even entertainment betting. We got you covered over there. We also have some great events happening this summer that you can get some tickets for right on the website, inbetweenmedia.com. That includes Draft Night Out. That's our live fantasy football draft at the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio this August. If you want to come draft with us and 200 of our closest fantasy football friends, this is the event for you. We're going to have a shot wheel spinning, songs of singing, and giveaways going off, and a little bit of everything in between. And we also have an IBT Classic. It's our first year doing a golf scramble that weekend as well. So if you want to get invested with those, we're running a hashtag Weekender special right now where you can get 10% off when you get tickets to both Draft Night Out and the IBT Classic, our golf scramble the day before. So looking forward to those events out here in Ohio, Rod. That's going to be a fun weekend once again. And as you know, being a part of that fantasy football community, these people are rowdy and they'll be ready to go all weekend long, I think.
Oh, live drafts are always the best. We got to get one out here on the West Coast, Seth. We'll talk next time around and get something set up on the West Coast, because us West Coast drafters, we love ourselves some fantasy football drafts.
And speaking of some fantasy football friends, Jamie checking in saying, "What's up, guys? Are you gonna be giving out some picks for the 400 tonight? How long is the show gonna be there?" Hey, man, we go about an hour and 18 minutes, almost on the dot every time. So we'll be here for about the next 70 minutes or so, cracking it open and talking about the books and everything going on in the NASCAR side of things. And Jamie will be at the expo. So Jamie, make sure you're getting your ticket Draft Night Out. Come golf with us as well at the IBT Classic. Again, that is promo code hashtag Weekender. 2 events, 1 price. You're going to get yourself 10% off when you get over there right now. That will not last all summer. So make sure you're getting invested while you can. And Rod, let's go ahead one last time and let's look back in the rear view at Sonoma Raceway. On Saturday, the teacher finally falls at the hands of the student. Connor Zilisch gets his 3rd win of the season over the dreaded Shane Van Gisbergen. SVG falls just a little bit short. Shout out to Elliott, who cashed, we hit the generational bet at Pocono. He went back in at the over 2.5 on Zilisch and got that for his season win total as well. So happy guy for Elliott. He's not with us on the program. He's out. I believe it's some type of music festival doing some ignorant stuff. So Elliott, hope you have a great weekend out there with all those types of people. I don't think there'll be any racing on. Maybe potentially his phone, but a really fun Saturday race here, Rod. You saw it in person. Connor Zilisch was able to outduel Shane Van Gisbergen, but kind of some surprises up in the top order of this race as well. William Swallow showed a lot of speed. Nick Sanchez had a little spunk once again, and Riley Herbst comes down from the Cup Series back to Xfinity, where he probably belongs, and has a nice top 5 run as well. What were your takeaways from Saturday, man?
That Zilisch is good. I mean, honestly, when you saw the way that he carried himself too in the press conference, it was just, you can tell that this is going to be a kid. And I say that because obviously I could be his dad. I could almost be his grandpa, but like literally this is going to be a kid that is going to be special for a very long time, because not only does he have the talent to back it up, but he's got the great attitude about the way he's going about it. Now, I heard a couple of rumors about him wanting to go F1, and maybe his head's not in the game for NASCAR in general. However long he wants to stay in NASCAR is going to be a fantastic time to watch, because like I said, he was able to hang with SVG. He was able to really race him clean. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from this, was that SVG he said too, look, I knew Connor was going to race me clean. Connor said the same thing. I knew SVG is going to race me clean, not just because we're teammates, but because that's just the kind of race car drivers we are. So they gave up the respect. Some say that SVG maybe hung back a little bit for Connor. I don't believe that. I believe that they went head to head the whole time. But by and large, Seth, that was an entertaining race. And I felt like it was probably the best race of the weekend, because it just showed a very young talent hanging tight against a guy who's done this before.
Well, I think, looking back at last weekend, I was off the SVG parlay. I thought, hey, we hit this once, we hit this twice. I think I got to, lay the brakes down a little bit. And I'm really glad I did. But I thought maybe if he was going to win one of those races, it would be Xfinity, just because he won there in the Xfinity car last season. But I think the one thing to keep in mind moving forward here is if you're going to be betting SVG on a road course, I think he has a better chance to win in Cup at this point. Just while there are great road course racers, there's nobody on the level of Zilisch to compete with him, race in and race out when we're turning left and right. So just kind of something for me to keep in mind. I was considering getting down on SVG at the -140 price tag just for that race. I'm very glad I didn't. Only race bet I had for that Xfinity circuit was a little bit of a matchup over there that I had Taylor Gray -115 over Sammy Smith. How was the betting card for you on Saturday? And do you agree that it feels like if SVG is going to get knocked off at road courses, it's going to be more Xfinity for the rest of this season, at least with Zilisch riding around in that 88?
100%. I mean, right now, it's the only person in his class right now that can hang with him. And they proved it every time they've been together on an actual road course. So yeah, it's 100% the way. And I actually did say, and I gave out Zilisch as the outright plus 150 on FanDuel. And I said, look, SVG is going to do SVG things. The only person right now that I think that has anything for him is Zilisch. So that's pretty much the only one I hit. I had Kvapil over Sanchez. That one obviously did not hit, unfortunately. I had Eckes to win a group and to be a top 5 car. Poor guy. He's just falling on some really hard teams. And then Sam Mayer, right? Running top 5, top 3 most of the race, did not pull it off at the end. So I only hit Zilisch as the outright.
Okay. For Sunday then, Shane Van Gisbergen, as we alluded to, he does get the win. He leads 97 of 110 laps. Could have swept both stages easily, even ended up pitting in that first stage and still finished second to his teammate Ross Chastain, who kind of took himself out of contention when he went for that playoff point, I feel like, a little bit on the day. But great day for SVG. Chase Briscoe fast once again as well. He showed some speed, was pretty much hanging out in the top 3 almost the entire day. Chase Elliott, who I know there's a lot of people in the NASCAR betting community who are high on the number 9 car coming into the weekend, had a terrible Saturday, but he did Chase Elliott things once again and made his way up through the pack. It feels like he's almost been close to a lock for top 5 bets so far this season at road courses. I've been afraid to get invested because the numbers haven't always been there, but he continues to have speed. Michael McDowell, Chris Bell, Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs, William Byron, Joey Logano, and Kyle Rowdy Busch round out the top 10. Any takeaways for you from Sunday, Rod?
Well, that SVG is good. I mean, as much as we said that Connor Zilisch is good, but
is he the best road course racer we've ever seen, you think, at least in the somewhat modern era, 1990 and above, would you say?
Well, look, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, they both made names for themselves on road courses, right? Martin Truex Jr. you can throw up in there as well as one of the I think right now, as we stand, yes, he's the best. And it's really because a lot of these guys, they'll say it on the radio, I don't know what to do to beat him. And when you can come in and confound professional drivers on how well you do, and I had a chance to talk to SVG's crew chief afterwards too. And I said, look, you got a magical driver. How easy is it for you? How stressed are you when you're sitting up on the press box, knowing that whatever call you make to this guy is going to turn into magic? Like how do you feel knowing that it doesn't matter what you say? I mean, you could bring him in and he can still run Kyle Larson down and win a stage. Like, how do you feel? And he was like, look, man, I don't stress at all anymore. Like, I just know whatever I do in a road course is gonna work with SVG.
It's crazy, man. I mean, now 3 wins on the season for SVG. He's tied right there at the top of the leaderboard with Kyle Larson, with Denny Hamlin, with Kris Bell. And don't look now, but Shane Van Gisbergen also 17 playoff points. That's only behind Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. So it's been a very, very special season. And, I thought this was a really fun race, despite it being, somewhat dominated by SVG. I still thought, hey, can Briscoe get there? Because Briscoe was making some good lap times. We saw the strategy at the end where if that thing goes green, Chase Elliott had fresher tires. He came all the way. I think he came off of pit road, maybe 13th, 14th place. I think he was hoping more cars pitted. They didn't. He had fresh tires, but we had a couple cautions late, man, that kind of shook things up and didn't allow him to get out in front, but still a good run for him. For the betting card, I mean, we have been absolutely on a roll so far this season. The betting model has been hot. We've been hot as bettors. I feel like, really you have learned so much over these past 12 months of how to be a smart gambler, paring back my card a lot and just, really finding bets I love and not ones I like. I'm not dating over here. I'm looking for marriage with my bets. And once again, we smashed a couple head-to-heads. That was really the big market for me. Joey Logano minus 115 at ESPN bet over Hamlin. I went 4 units on that, came out in the green for there. Mentioned that Taylor Gray bet on Saturday. And then Chris Bell against William Byron, that was minus 110. He was the underdog in that, wrongfully so. But that was a tough one for me, man, because I almost really screwed myself because it was the same price for a top 10 that it was over William Byron. I'm like, maybe he gets 11th or something. So just let me get a couple spots back and fade Byron, which was a mistake because Byron had a ton of speed. And I just had some bad beats on the weekend too, where I think it could have even been further in the green. I had Ryan Preece top 10 plus 450. That was our squad ride of the week. Elliott and I were both on that. He was a top 10 car all day, got damage on one of those restarts. Thought he was going to have to pit. He didn't. Still finished his 12th. And then Ryan Blaney out at plus 150, top 10 for a unit on him as well. And that went up in smoke when he got pushed off track, but he was a top 10 guy as well. And for me, Rod, I'm still very happy, even though I didn't hit an outright last weekend, just because I got a ton of CLV on Bell, 22-1. He was like 12-1, 10-1 going off on Sunday. And Chastain, I had 31 outright on him. And I woke up on Sunday and he was like 13, 14-1. So closing line value, positive EV always makes me happy, even if I don't hit outrights. And, being up 5 units is good for me. How did the bets fall for you on Sunday?
Yeah, so Elliott was pretty much my golden goose. Like you, I was on Blaney, and unfortunately that one, man, he was so fast all day long.
He always is there. Yeah. He loves that Sonoma wine, man.
Yeah, he does. And unfortunately got pushed off and didn't get there. But Elliott, I took him over Gibbs, had that at minus 125, and then I took Elliott as a top 5 at plus 250. So almost 3-1 for a top 5. Hit him there. And then, we knew SVG was going to win. So obviously my Larson and my Kyle Busch, they were just insurance bets. So yeah, I mean, I had Dinger top 10 too. And that was another one that was heartbreaking as well.
Yep. AJ Allmendinger once again looked like arguably the best car on Saturday, right? And then just, it's so tough to bet him. That's why I've kind of been staying away from him so far this season. Here we got a great comment here from TK about SVG. More importantly, the team is getting better, allowing Shane Van Gisbergen to get the car working better for him. And his weak point from last year was pit road speeding, and he hasn't done that in a while. Yeah, that's a great point, man. That was something we were, really dreading with Shane Van Gisbergen this season is can he not make these little mistakes? We saw it in one of his first true road courses outside Chicago Street back in 2023, I believe that was. But still, to see how far this guy's come from being a virtually unknown in this sport, winning his first Cup Series race to being a, now 4-time Cup Series winner, it's just great to see, man. So very happy for the guy. And before we get out of in the rear view, Rod, I did want to bring up some fast lap news. Ty Gibbs not penalized for clipping the RFK tire carrier. A lot of jokes were being thrown around on Twitter, whether it was Brad Keselowski, any of the RFK guys, but tough break there. Glad everyone was okay. I don't think it was intentional, but it definitely, especially after having a little run on with them on the course, looked a little bit weird, but I'm glad there wasn't a penalty, and I'm more importantly glad no one was hurt.
I was about 2 minutes outside of watching that actually happen in person. I was on the other side I was on the other side of pit road, and I had just walked by the pit about like a couple of minutes beforehand. And that was going to be one of the times where I went up to the press box to take myself a nice little cooling water break. And then I look up at the screen, and all of a sudden I see them replaying the fight. And I was like, how did I? And you could see all of the pit stalls from that area from the press box. And I was pretty mad at myself for missing that one live. I am supposed to refrain from any Ty Gibbs hate. So that's where I'm at on this one, even though to me, it's like, okay, I'm going to be a good boy and I'm going to not hate on Gibbs because it makes a lot of people unhappy.
Don't want to get in the corner. Don't want to get put in the corner here, Rod.
Gibbs fans, they don't like me already, and that's fine.
Some Xfinity Series news here as well. Kris Wright and Our Motorsports are parting ways. Been a really disappointing year for Kris Wright, Pennsylvania kid who gets in this car and just not able to recapture some of that same magic we saw a year ago from Anthony Alfredo, who ended up winning a Dash for Cash at Dover earlier in the season in 2024. So I think a lot of regret both on Kris Wright's end for not making the most of this opportunity for himself. And I would say for Our Motorsports, who let Anthony Alfredo walk when I thought Alfredo has some pretty good backing from Dude Wipes and other partners, lets him walk, takes the funding from Kris Wright, puts him in this car, and been a disaster of a season, edge of a playoff spot last year to very, very low in the points. And Rod, is this the last you think we see Kris Wright in a competitive full-time ride?
It's hard to say ever, but I think that chances are getting very slim because if you can't get in an hour, then where are you going to go? Like there's not a whole lot more that you can do other than jump on maybe one or two of the back markers that need rides, right? Like even a BJ McLeod at some point.
Yeah. Kris, if you want to hop over into the NASCAR betting streets now that you're out of the series for right now, we got a host chair over here for you on the back road. We can do a little 3-banger, a little 4-banger action sometimes and get you over here. But yeah, tough scene for the kid, but hopefully he can continue to improve and make himself a better race car driver. Let's go to the lawsuit news as well. 2311 and Front Row Motorsports file another preliminary injunction motion, basically just trying to avoid losing their charters, trying to kind of delay this process. It seems like a little bit. We don't have to spend a ton of time on this, Rod, because it's just one of those things I wanted to know. But man, it's tough. And I said it last week. I feel like we've definitely seen it in Front Row's performance so far this season. They've certainly stepped back altogether as an organization. Zane Smith leading that crew in points, but still outside the top 20 by a wide margin. And 2311 has not won a race all season. Bubba Wallace, I had my rest of season burning questions. Is this the beginning of the end for Bubba Wallace at 2311? Just based on what happened in Chicago when he's points racing and almost dumps himself against Alex Bowman. So a lot of question marks, but just in general, like I'm kind of fading 2311 and FRM the rest of the way, I think, unless proven otherwise.
It's kind of a far fall from the top, right? Where you're the regular season champion and you haven't even done anything at all this season worth note. So yeah, it's tough for these guys. And I know, MJ brings a lot of eyeballs to the sport, but at what point does that stop? I mean, it's okay, he's been in the sport for a while. It's not brand new anymore. It's not shiny anymore. We're moved on to something else. And so, yeah, the turnstiles aren't clicking the way they were when he first took over this team. So yeah. And Denny with his bully pulpit, it's still, he can't do anything much to change anybody else's minds about it. And maybe if it was anybody but Denny, you could, but yeah, people are tired of listening to Denny talk about it right now.
Who has like more speed right now? I asked Elliott this last week, but Legacy or this 2311 team? And I would argue, maybe there's more talented drivers in the 2311 stable, but like as far as betting goes, like I have way more faith in Legacy right now with the speed they've shown over the past 8 weeks.
Tell me who's been cashing more, Nemechek or Bubba? Like the proof is right
honestly,
there.
Yeah.
You can't deny it.
Well, here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to give you a special version of Parking Garage Props here at the top. Before we break down Dover, we're going to talk some updated championship odds. And I got a special bet for you that I'm going to throw out as well. So let's open up the first crack at Parking Garage Props tonight and talk championship outright odds. All right, we're looking at the championship odds for the 2025 Cup Series, and we had done a ton of previews coming into the season, trying to find y'all the best values, what you should be betting, what you shouldn't be betting, and I honestly had a pretty pretty small Cup Series championship card. I have a Busher ticket at 40-1, which is still out there. So I really got no closing line value on that. But I thought this was a great time with not a ton in the news this week to revisit these odds, open these up, see if there's anywhere that we do find some value. So at the top of the board, it's of course Kyle Larson still plus 350, which, very, very short number compared, given how he's run so far over the past, really since that Coke 600 and Indy 500 run. Kris Bell plus 550. These are coming from DraftKings, and this is Thursday, July 17th, so odds subject to change. Ryan Blaney 6-1, Denny Hamlin 6-1, William Byron 7-1, Chase Elliott 9-1, Tyler Reddick 12-1, Joey Logano 14-1, Chase Briscoe 20-1, SVG now 25-1, Ross Chastain 25-1, Alex Bowman 25-1, Cindric 35-1, Josh Berry 41, right there with Chris Buescher and Carson Hocevar at 40-1 before Kyle Busch rounds out what I would consider the mid-range at 50-1. So, Rod, looking at these championship odds, and obviously we're encouraging everyone to shop around. There's not one place right now where you can see all the championship odds at one time for every book. Smart people figured out. People have a bigger budget than us. Figure it out. Let's get that taken care of, hopefully. But with this said, do you see any values, any misprices just kind of floating out there? What's your general takeaway from these odds? Because overall, for me, pretty short. And I don't love what we're seeing, not just at DraftKings, but almost everywhere right now for this market, Rod.
I mean, pretty short for Kyle Larson, especially, right? I mean, like you said, it's just been a very, very ho-hum second half of the season so far for Kyle Larson. And plus 350 to me, I mean, I obviously would not bet that because there's just no momentum for Kyle Larson, and it's very tough at all. And I know Marcus is all about his Christopher Bell plus 550. I like it. But where I'm really liking, Seth, and this is kind of a crazy little take, but that's Chase Elliott at 9-1. That's where I would start, because Chase Elliott he's the most popular driver, but yet week after week, we're paying more attention to the Kyle Larsons, to the Ryan Blaneys, to the Denny Hamlins. Chase Elliott has not necessarily been on our screen, but yet he's been one of the more consistent drivers that we've had all season long, right? Average finish of 10th place so far this season. It's just, for Chase Elliott, there's a way for him to consistency his way. And then if he ends up finding his way into victory lane again, then now we're looking at a much better chance for him to get there. And you won't get 9-1 for Chase Elliott after, I would say, the summer's over, right? So if you believe Chase Elliott has a chance, now's the best time to get in on him, because now's the longest number you're going to find on him.
It's a great point. Because this is a guy who's been there. He's done that. And while the speed isn't already there, I mean, you said it, man. Consistency. This is a guy who I think can certainly, top 10 his way into the round of 8. I think it will be anyone's fight from there. But I don't hate the number. It feels a little short for a guy who hasn't had race-winning speed a lot of weeks. But nonetheless, I did want to pull up this great chart over from our friends at sportbettingdime.com as well that kind of shows you a little bit of a trend of some of the top drivers and their odds, what they've done. And as you can see, there really wasn't a ton of value to get in pre-flop in these favorites. Like, if you're betting one of these heavy favorites preseason, it was kind of a bad idea, and that's why I stayed away from most of them. Denny Hamlin, though, I see at one point here, Rod, right before he went on his winning streak, flown it out at 10-1. That would have been a great opportunity to potentially get in on Hamlin when we expand to the top 16 here as well. We've seen a lot of guys who odds have certainly come and gone, and a little bit of everything in between. William Byron's ones that have certainly moved quite a bit. And Shane Van Gisbergen, this was a guy who was all the way up at almost 400-1 just a couple of months ago before this road course run. And I certainly bet if you had a ticket on him at FanDuel around 400-1 and he's down 25-1, you're going to catch that opportunity there, Rod. So a little bit of a potential missed opportunity for the boys here, I think.
Yeah, and yet, do you really want to cash out, though? Like, if you're holding on to a 400-1 and you got Watkins Glen in the playoffs, and the Roval as well, do you really want to cash? Is he going to win? No, but, I mean, how fun is it to sweat it, right?
Yeah, Glenn actually right before the playoffs this year, if you do recall, it did move a little bit before that. But in the playoffs still, we talked about it last week, still sets up really nice for SVG, right? He's going to get into the round of 16 if he can get out of there with his bonus points that he's accrued so far. Gets into that round of 12, it finishes at the Roval. He can win his way in there. And then if he somehow gets into the round of 8, the last couple tracks aren't terrible for him. Talladega and Martinsville, the last two before we go to that championship race. This is a guy who can get it done on super speedways, at least from a top 10 perspective that we've seen both Cup and Xfinity. And Martinsville, while he wasn't super great there in the spring, he had a top 10 run at Bowman Gray. He was top 12 there last year in Cup as well. So not a crazy statement to make that, riding SVG out at some of those long odds would have been a good opportunity. I think 25-1 now, if we've kind of missed the window there now, I would say, though, right?
Oh, and it's not going back up again.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way the books, 3 wins, the way he's been running, it's not, they're not going back up. So if you got him at 400-1, what do the kids say? Hold, whatever. Just
hold. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree with you there. I did want to bring up one bet that I am laying down here that I want to throw out to everyone as well. And it is Christopher Bell to win the championship 6-1 at FanDuel. I think I said on one of our first episodes of this season that if you see Chris Bell above a 5-1, it's time to really consider it. I've been waiting around, say, can I get a boost? Can someone throw me out a boost? And then I get a boost, and then, I'm starting to bet Toledo to win the MAC again, right? Like this would always happen. So I start to look at other markets, and I'm betting Georgia Tech win totals and, all these ridiculous G5 and Power 4 teams that are a little lesser known that I like to watch that, I want to get invested with. But to me, Christopher Bell, 6-1, I'm very, very okay with this. I think the playoff set up really well for a guy who has 3 wins coming in, no penalties so far this season as well. So hopefully he can stay that way. But round 1, Darlington, he's also then going to go back to WWT, Worldwide Technology Raceway. That's another short flat track he can dominate. Then into Bristol, and then round of 12 opens with 2 of his best tracks, New Hampshire and Kansas. Love that. And then we round out the Roval. He's a good road course racer. And to get into the championship, he's gonna have to make the most of Vegas, which he's done in the past. Talladega, good super speedway racer, and Martinsville, where he had some bad luck there last season. But I like Christopher Bell, and I like getting in on him right now, Rod, because I think the window for Chris Bell to get in now at 6-1, it's going to be closed very soon because beginning of August, we go to Iowa. He's going to be the betting favorite, if I had to guess, him or Ryan Blaney for that one. Then we go to the Glen. That's another race that he's going to be one of the favorites at. And then Richmond. So for me, it's Chris Bell. I went 1.5 units. The only bet I currently have, I think I have about a half unit bet on our guy, Chris Buescher at 40-1. And I actually do have a 300-1. On Cole Custer, which did not work out the way I thought it was going to.
No, it's like Wyatt, Cody Ware. That would have been the other one to put in on it. I mean, you might as well have put something on SVG back in the day. That would have been a much better return. But as far as Chris Bell's concerned, first of all, you're making Marcus happy, which is always good for the show to make Marcus happy. But listen, Christopher Bell, like you said, it's a lot like Chase Elliott. If he starts to get good again, right? I mean, look, we got 3 wins out of him almost, back to back to back. And so if he gets hot again, then you're not going to see these odds stay at 6. They'll be more Kyle Larson-esque at 350, 400. So this is the best time to get in on him, in my opinion, as well.
In the chat, as you mentioned, we did have Wyatt saying I might put a sprinkle on Cody Ware to win the championship. Never know. Hey, look, I will die on the hill that Cody Ware almost won the Daytona 500 this season. He was in the same lane as William Byron. He just needed to be on the outside, not the inside. Not only does he cash a lead lap finish bet for us, but he wins the Daytona 500. So not crazy, Wyatt. I appreciate you though hanging out with us. And TK saying SVG and Zilisch will probably be the top 2 favorites for Watkins Glen at the Cup. I do agree with that, but I bet Chris Bell, at least I think he should be, closer back to 12-1 when he closed last week. So I'm in on Christopher Bell. I have that ticket. I have my Buescher ticket still that I'm riding out. And Rod, it sounds like you're kind of, going to potentially flirt with a little Chase Elliott and then staying pretty packed with the rest of your current futures card, correct?
Yeah, because Chase Elliott right now, it's just the number that you're getting him at is a decent enough number to kind of speculate on.
Okay. Well, guys, let us know who your favorite championship bets are for the Cup Series as we head into the back half of the season. We want to hear from you. Leave us a comment below. Jump into one of these live shows. Give us some live chats as well. And make sure you're subscribing to the IBT Media channel if you're new, and check out the website In Between Media for some fantastic written content. Let's go ahead. Let's break down Dover in the Horizon Forecast.
Hey, Michael, it was only 20% chance of rain. I think we got all 20.
All right, so it is Dover. We're returning to the Monster Mile, which is a 1 mile skill intermediate track with a concrete surface. There are no real true primary comps to this. However, we did weigh in the IBT racing betting model this weekend. We did weigh the following secondary comps for it: Bristol, Darlington, and Nashville. And looking at the overall schedule for this weekend as well, it's going to be a jam-packed one, although we only do have the Cup and the Xfinity Series going off. For the entry list on Cup, we have the 36 charter card, plus we have JJ Yaley running that 44 for the NY Racing team. Over on the Xfinity Series side, we have 40 cars for 38 spots. Ross Chastain in the 9 once again. Jake Finch taking over that 17 car. And then Eric Almirola in the 19 for JGR. Ryan Truex takes the Sam Hunt Racing number 24 car, tries to go for 3 in a row at his home track. And then Rajah Caruth making a start in the 32 for Jordan Anderson Racing as well. The schedule looks like this. On Friday, 5:09 p.m. Eastern time, the ARCA race is going to go off on FS1. That was a really fun race. We got to watch that one in person last year when Connor Zilisch won it. He defended against Carson Kvapil, Gio Regenero, and some other regulars that you see throughout the Truck and Xfinity Series these days. Also, then going to Saturday at 11 a.m. on the CW app, Xfinity practice and qualifying. 1:35 on True TV, because, got to use True TV because everyone knows where that is. Cup practice and qualifying, 1:35 p.m. Eastern time. And then we're going to go green for the Xfinity Series race. This is the BetRivers 200, or the Dover 200, as some books call it, who don't want to give free publicity to their competitors. And that's going to be on CW. The stages for that, 45, 45, and 110. And on Sunday, we'll also have the green flag dropping at 2:17 Eastern time for the Cup Series. That's going to be on TNT, True TV, Max, wherever you're getting your NASCAR Cup Series coverage from the gang over there at Turner. The AutoTrader EchoPark Automotive 400, still, I think, arguably one of the worst names in the Cup Series or of all racing. And I mean, I appreciate that EchoPark wants to get their name out there. They're putting their name, on tracks, on a million races, but come on, Rod. I mean, not only is this you got the word auto in there twice, but at the same, you got 3 vowels starting out the 3 words with vowels. What are we doing here, man?
Not to mention SEO hates it. So I absolutely, anytime it's a long NASCAR car race or a NASCAR race and you put it in SEO, it's always like, your SEO title is too long. The title of the track or the race is too long.
Yeah, thanks for doing us a good favor over here. Yeah, luckily the IBT family, they do things like subscribe, and they're chatting with us, and they're giving us thumbs up, which help the algorithm. But NASCAR does us no favors with titling this type of stuff, that's for sure. And a huge wrinkle, absolutely huge wrinkle this weekend, Rod, as well, as we get into the Dover preview, is that Goodyear has issued new sets of untested tires for both sides of the car, not just lefts, not just rights, but both sides. And per Rick Heinrich is coming from the Goodyear NASCAR product manager. And I am paraphrasing here. This tire was made with Dover in mind, with this year's race being in the summer, and is designed to lay more rubber on the smooth surface of this concrete racetrack. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm holding my breath. I'm doing everything in between, Rod. And I don't know how I feel about it, specifically because we haven't tested these tires. So I am treading very carefully this weekend. I honestly have a very small cup card, I would say, compared to what I usually have at this time of the week. And it's just one of those, I really want to see how practice and qualifying shake out before I'm really willing to lay down some big money on the outright market, I think.
I honestly feel like sometimes NASCAR does toy with us, because we got the road course races that can be kind of unpredictable. You got the Pocono Tricky Triangle, which also can be a little bit. And then you have the super speedway races. I mean, we've had all sorts of hard to handicap race over the last couple of months. And then we get to Dover, we're like, finally an oval. Yeah. We get to actually, look at some stats and everything. And then they go, hey, just kidding, there's going to be a new tire, and then you don't know. So all of the research that you do could be for naught if we get an opportunity for tires to blow, or if they wear off too much, or who knows what's going to happen. So like you said, I sort of just said, I'm going to roll as if everything's the same, and then maybe at the end of it, adjust if we see something different during practice and qualifying.
We got our guy Kush checking in here. He checked in before we went live, also saying he made it in, guys. What's going on? What's up, Kush? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks so much for stopping by. Also, Bob Bodner in the chat. Bob at his home track of Dover. We got to meet up with Bob, share a couple whiskey and cokes with him down the road from Dover last year, and saying Blaney or Gibbs will win Dover this week for him. I like Blaney. We'll talk more about that later, Bob. But hope you get down there once again to the racetrack, to the casino, and have yourself a great weekend. We appreciate you tuning in and supporting the channel as always, man. And TK saying this is going to be the most open Cup car entries ever at Dover. So here's the thing. With this preliminary junction they just filed, we're not sure if the 2311 and FRM cars will be open or not, as that's at least as I checked, right before we went live here around the 8:30 marks. That could have changed in the last hour. Keep up to date with Bob Pockris, Jeff Gluck, and the gang. Keep your head on swivel for that, but shouldn't affect anyone this weekend. But it very well could, could set some records for most open cars here very, very quickly. Now let's get into some trends as well for Dover. Dover had 2 dates until 2021. And, I remember this, but I kind of forgot it because it feels like it's been a while. And so much that we have 16 active Cup Series drivers who have won either in the Xfinity Series or the Truck Series here at the Monster Mile. That's 43.2% of the field. That's a really high number. We give bonus points in our betting model for Xfinity and Truck Series starts and placements and wins. And almost everyone had some type of points this week. So people have been coming to Dover for a long time. It's an institution out there on the East Coast. Kyle Larson is the only active driver inside the top 10 of all-time Dover starting positions. Keep that in mind. Kyle Larson could unload fast once again, despite the recent poor performances. And active next-gen pole winners here. Kyle Busch has 2 poles. He swept the poles the last 2 years, 2024 and 2023 for Richard Childress Racing. Chris Buescher in 2022 got off the truck quick for RFK Racing. And they'd go on to have an average finish in this race of 11.0. So being on the pole, not always the best thing, Rob, because this is a racetrack. Because its concrete surface can change very much from day to day and hour to hour. As we saw last year, crazy tire wear on Saturday. It looked like it was going to be Bristol 2.0, where tires were blown. You couldn't get more than 30 laps in a run. And then Sunday, not a ton of wear because things started to warm up a little bit. So I think maybe that's what Goodyear's doing with the tire here, but this is still a track that can change from Saturday to Sunday very quickly, depending on the weather, and from the beginning of the race to the end of the race if we get some shady parts of this track.
Yeah, and gone are the days of Jimmy Johnson being able to just come out here and crush this track, right? I mean, there's a reason the 48 car is being held up in the Monster's hand outside of the track, and it's not because of Alex Bowman. It's just we haven't seen that level of dominance on this track since, but that doesn't, go to say that they can't do it again. And yeah, two races on this track used to be a lot of fun and gave them an opportunity. But obviously, we want more road races, so we got to take something away. And I guess Dover lost.
Winners have come from P4, P17, and P6 in the next-gen era. That furthest back position to win was Martin Truex Jr. in 2023. We had him 11-1 that day, so it was a great day there. The Truex brothers swept that weekend. So, you don't need to put it on the pole here to win, but you definitely more than likely should probably be in the top 10. But as Truex proved, you can start outside the top 10 or even the top 15 and still have a run at it. Rod, let's go ahead. Let's round out the Horizon forecast with our iFantasyRace.com Asterisk Mark Driver of the Week. And I'll give you the reins here, man, because I know how much you're always overloading these servers there at iFantasyRace.com with how much you're surfing over there, trying to get your data for the week. And, I think I even saw like a little disclaimer though. I'm like, Rod Villagomez, like slow it down because, taking all the server space for us. So go ahead and shout out iFantasyRace.com and all the wonderful work they're doing here and the driver we highlighted today, please.
Absolutely. Yes. So we got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is our Asterisk Mark Driver of the Week. He was a legit top 10 contender last year at Dover. Unfortunately, he finished a misleading 35th in that race. Stenhouse finished 10th in stage 1, 9th in stage 2, and 11th when he is on lap 300. But lap 320, when he was running in the top 10, crashed while merging back into the track during a green flag pit cycle. Unfortunately, that was where Ricky Stenhouse turned into Recchi. And in terms of total speed rankings, he was 10th in that race as well. So fast, but just one little mistake can take you out of the mix.
Yeah, and when I was putting together this week's projections, Ricky does rank really good when it comes to Dover stats in particular. So I was like, oh man, maybe there is a way to get invested with him. He was originally opened up around 3 plus 350 to get a top 10. I thought it was a little short. I am seeing him now. FanDuel reopened some top 10s earlier today, plus 460. I don't hate that price tag, Rod, but the issue with Ricky Stenhouse is he's been terrible at the comp so far this season. Bottom 5 average running position at Nashville, bottom 6 average running position at Darlington. Did have a good run at Bristol earlier, but he's always good at Bristol. And just, bottom 7 average total speed ranking at the comps so far this season as well, factoring all these intermediate tracks. So it's a no for me on Ricky Stenhouse, but, maybe a sneaky DFS play nonetheless, perhaps.
That's probably the only way that I would feel comfortable, because again, if you're looking at top 10 numbers, you're looking at matchups and stuff like that. It just doesn't make any sense to bet on him, especially this season. So yeah, I'm definitely staying away.
Shout out Ryan, all the great work they're doing over there to power us at IBT Media from ifantasyrace.com. We appreciate you. And guys, let's get into the picks with Park and Garage Props coming your way. So let's talk impressions of the books here, Rod. Try to be fair when we can, try to ask for more when we can. Elliott and I last week, I had the lighter going. I was pouring one out for the Xfinity Series top 10 market. It does look like that is in the past. I'm not seeing it at Bet365 anymore. I'm not seeing ESPN Bet. So I don't have a lighter on me, and I'm not going to pour beer on myself, but we are going to pour one out for the Xfinity Series top 10 market. It was fun while we had it. But aside from that, I'm upset a little bit with the speed of some of the Xfinity Series markets. It felt like even ESPN Bet, which usually has them up pretty quickly, only outrights out there right now. But aside from that, I thought it was a fine offering. And I did like some numbers. I just had to look around. And again, it's more less about volume and more about bets I really loved this week. What did you think about the book's offerings for us?
Yeah. So, when you're gone from someplace for a long time and you come home and you're like, okay, this is nice. And
yes.
But yet it's still kind of because we've had super speedway odds, we've had road course odds, we've had all kinds of odds, and now we finally have oval odds again. But then again, that's a mixed bag because now we have oval odds again. And so now we have to navigate and try to remember where that light switch is or where we move the couch because you got to get resituated. And that's I think what it was, just looking at the odds going, I'm not quite sure what to make of this right now because I don't know. And I haven't been here in a while. So I have to, kind of get reacquainted with it. But like you said, this is more to me. I don't necessarily like to throw a ton out anyways, because I really do like to narrow it down to what I like. And so, so this was easy, I think, this week to find it because the selection was not quite as much.
Yeah.
But there was some decent stuff out there.
Yeah. And my first outright play here is one that it's more of just a pricing play for me, really. The next best line for Josh Berry that you can find anywhere is 40-1 to win this race, lowest 33-1 at BetRivers. That feels right to me. I think 55-1 from DraftKings is pretty absurd. So I went ahead, I sprinkled a half unit on it. For me, Berry, it comes in 13th in our IBT media projections. But really, he's one of the last cars for me that I think could win this race. And I think that's a group of about 10 or 11 drivers who I think really have a shot. At Dover in particular, Berry, 8th best next-gen average finish, 12.0, 13th in the total speed rankings in that time as well. 13th best average running position in 2023, 11.8, 14th best last season. And at the comp so far this season, hasn't been great in terms of finishes. He has not got the results he's wanted at places like Bristol, at Darlington, at Nashville. But he is 7th best in total speed rankings at the intermediates this season, and also has a win in his back pocket and a runner-up finish here in the Xfinity Series. So do I think Josh Berry's going to win, Rod? Probably not. But do I think his odds are higher than the 1.69 implied odds that we're betting here at the 55-1 offering? I absolutely do.
I feel like with Josh Berry, when he came out and he won earlier this season, everybody was like, well, I'm kind of surprised and yet not at the same time. Obviously, we know there is speed in the Wood Brothers car. We do know that Josh Berry is a talented enough driver. But then that was it. It was a flash in the pan for the most part, right? Because we haven't really seen that same level of success out of the 21. And we're kind of waiting for it. I mean, those of us who actually pay attention to Josh Berry are waiting for it to happen again. So it's just, can it happen? We didn't think it really could happen we were surprised but that it happened in the first place. I think we'll be surprised again when it happens in the next place. But I feel like this is as good a track as any. Obviously, you laid out the whole case for it. But I feel like, if it's going to happen again, I think now's the time that he's been so quiet lately that this is the time for him to pop back up again.
Yeah, this is the place we saw it a couple years ago when he was in that 48 for Alex Bowman, that he likes it here, right? And even in subpar equipment for a team that was going down with the ship last year, he still managed to have a pretty decent run. So I think Josh Berry, who, usually I wouldn't bet on an outright for a guy who comes in 13th in our projections, but I just think 55 is way 1-1 is way too long. I have him in a ton of DFS lineups this weekend as well. So I do like Josh Berry. And part of that rationale as well is because I like his pseudo teammate. I like Penske. I like Ryan Blaney on the outright plus 750 at FanDuel. I want a full unit on this one. Second to only Denny Hamlin in our projections, an 89% IBT score and a next-gen average finish of 12.0, the 8th best in the series. He's 5th in total speed rankings during that span with the fastest car in that 2023 race. He also had a 3.4 average running position in 2023, tied for the second best, finished P3 that day. Had a pretty good run last year as well, 5.3 average running position. However, he did finish P7, but he did lead 47 laps. And at comp so far this season, Ryan Blaney, which really got me excited, 2nd in average running position at Nashville, 6th in running position at Darlington, 3rd at Bristol. So he's been a top 6 cars at all these types of tracks, and that has resulted in 3 top 5 finishes. You know how I love my trends. He's 3 for 3, finishing top 5 so far at these racetracks with a win and good for a 3.7 average finish. So with a 3.3 average starting position here in the next gen era too, I think if you want to get on Ryan Blaney, you got to do it now, because I don't think we'll see a plus 750 unless something goes wrong with these new tires and he just misses the setup.
If there's anybody who is welcoming back an oval track, it's Ryan Blaney. He has had such just a
bad luck too.
Yeah, miserable luck all over. And again, you're right. It's not because he's a lack of talent. It's not because he can't get it done. It's because something outside of his control has just taken him out, and he hasn't been able to put together the finishes that he pretty much deserves to have. And I think Ryan Blaney getting back on an oval, getting back to a track where things make sense again, is welcoming for him. And I think he's going to take full advantage of that. I'm with you on Ryan Blaney. I'm really, really high on Blaney too this week.
And one of the trends kind of coming into this week, Rod, was it really felt like it's HMS, it's Joe Gibbs Racing, it's Penske and their affiliates, right? Like that's kind of how I feel. That's kind of how I'm handicapping this race. I want exposure to these top teams, despite, our love for legacy motorsports and the track houses of the world. And you kind of continue this trend with the top dogs because you go to the Hendrick Motorsports stable with your outright of the night.
Well, yeah, and you talked about it. I really burn up the servers for Ryan over there at iFantasy Race. He has told me, please, I know your IP is always on it. Can you play, save some room?
That's why you take incognito all the time, huh?
That's why I'm incognito, just so he doesn't know. But no, if you look at the next gen average finishes over here at iFantasy Race, you're going to find Chase Elliott's name right up there alongside Ross Chastain as the top finishers in the next gen era. 5.7 average finish, 1st in 2022, 11th in 2023, but 5th in 2024. And that doesn't tell the whole story, right? I mean, that's just the next gen era. Chase Elliott has been good at this track his entire career. 10 top 10 finishes in 14 starts. All 10 of those have been top 5 finishes. He's only got 2 DNFs. His average finish here is 9.5. He's led 394 laps around this track. Chase Elliott has been good no matter what he's been driving in this particular car. 1 in 2022, 1 in 2018, has a string now of 3 of 4 top 5 finishes, with 2 of those being top 3 finishes. Before that, a 39th place finish in 2020, but before that, a 5th place finish. 38th in 2019, but 5th place in 2019, 1st place in 2018 in the fall, and then 2nd place in 2017 in the fall, 5th place before that, third. I mean, Chase Elliott has just been good at this track. And like we said before, Chase Elliott, just one of those guys that's so consistent that it's not going to surprise you when he jumps up and wins another race, because that's just the way Chase Elliott is. And I think, like I said, not at 12-1 for Chase Elliott, he's already got a win, right? So we're looking pretty good on that account. And he won in Atlanta a couple weeks ago, 3rd at Sonoma, 5th at Pocono, 3rd at Mexico City, 4th at Martinsville, 8th at Darlington. So good, solid finishes for Chase Elliott. And I think he can cross the finish line in this one.
Man, I have such mixed feelings for Chase Elliott this week. It's just like my relationship with Taco Bell. Like I love it, until I don't, right? That's how I feel because he comes in fourth in the projections, a B minus 80% IBT grade for us. So that's pretty high. That's a great number for him. And his Dover stats, as you mentioned, fantastic. I can remember, we were standing on top of the media center at Dover's media center, by the way. It's kind of old. It's kind of rickety, but they actually have a roof. You can stand on top of it and you get a great view of the track, as well as they have a great turn one media center too. But I remember standing on top of the roof of the media center last year and watching as the laps are ticking away. And I have a top 5 on Chase Elliott that I absolutely gained. And he's behind Noah Gragson. And I just need him to get there. Just need him to get there. Just need him to get there. And he gets there. He passes Gragson with a couple laps to go. He gets my top 5. So I love him for that. And I wanted to go back to the well. However, the stats at these comps just aren't great, Rod. He's outside the top 10 in average running position at Dover. He's outside the top 10, outside the top 20 even at Bristol. Had a bad run there. Did have a, right inside the top 10 run at Nashville. I just have a feeling that Chase Elliott could go out and be running 10 to 12th all day and probably end up finishing 7th. That's kind of what I think the day is going to be for him. But he has had speed. He has had great finishes at the comp track so far this season. That's one thing we can't overlook. Finishes a 5, 8, or 15, 8th, and 15th. So he's right in the mix, but that's where I feel like he's going to finish. So I like the number, though. I do like the number for a guy who can go out there and be competitive. But I just want to see it on the comp tracks, man. I just want to see it there.
Yeah, but then there are drivers that particularly are just good at this track too. So
they do. Yeah, 100%. Chase is one of those guys too. He's been that way at road courses all season long. Let's go ahead, though. Let's round out the outrights with definitely, I think, the one on everyone's mind heading in the weekend. It is a favorite. Once again, betting the favorite. I know, not fun. Seth's lame. Always betting the chalk. Look, I'm going Denny Hamlin on the outright 5-1 at FanDuel. I'm going 1.5 on this. A very strong number 1 in our projections here. A 95% IBT grade. That's 6% higher than the next guy. That's Ryan Blaney. 4th in the Dover Next Gen average finishes, but clearly number 1 in the total speed rankings over that span. In 2022, he kind of just had a weird run here. I think it was that first year in the Next Gen, but he really pulled it together last season and the season before as well. Even in 2023, where he had, kind of disappointing by his standard, 14.2 average running position, still led 67 laps in that span. And then comes back last season, and he's top in average running position, 4.1, laps led, 136, and driver rating. So he's been really, really good, man. And I think if these tires are designed to wear like they're supposed to, nobody manages tire wear better than Denny Hamlin, right? 7.0 average starting position here. So I don't think you're going to get anything worse than a 4-1. But I don't know if we see 5-1 after pre-flop. So I'm just trying to get a little CLV here. Now I'm going to get down for 1.5 on Denny Hamlin. What are the cons, though, Rod? What's the cons of betting Denny Hamlin, you think, this weekend?
I just feel like for Denny Hamlin, the cons are Denny Hamlin. It's which Denny Hamlin decides to show up that day, what's going to piss him off, what's going to go wrong on the track. Because, for as much as Denny Hamlin's been good this year, it feels like Denny Hamlin's also been equally as not good this year, right?
Sure.
So you just don't know which side of this you're going to get. And with all of the distractions off, I know that doesn't play a lot of it doesn't seem to play a lot into the performance on the track, but you got to think that, at some point it seeps in. So I don't know. It just, to me, Denny Hamlin, yes, on this track, I feel like he's going to be fantastic. He should, because that's what he always is. Right. And you'd be silly to not take that chance on him, but you also have to sort of go into it knowing that you pretty much could get burned too, because he's burned you a few times this season.
Yeah, and really the outright to me was the only way that I found to invest in. You'll talk about one more Denny Hamlin bet you have later that might be an interesting way to go about it as well. But I'm not laying a ton of minus money on the top 5 here just because JGR's had some weird issues happen lately. I have seen a couple matchups with him close to a pick'em against Kyle Larson, which interests me. He has beat Larson 2 out of 3 times here at Dover in the Next Gen. He's beat Larson 2 out of 3 times in this season at the comps as well. But the 2 races he didn't beat Larson won. So Larson obviously a game or 2. So I just can't get invested anymore with Denny Hamlin other than the outright. If he wins, great. If not, I faded him for 4 units last week, and I'm happy with it. Burning one of those units on the outright with him this weekend. So I'm going Denny Hamlin on the outright, 5-1 at FanDuel. And Rod, let's turn it over to the placement prop market. What do you have from either a top 5 or a top 10 perspective, my friend?
Well, so you know that we love us some Legacy Motor Club. How about Eric Jones? I know John Hunter is still alive in the bracket, and he's going to be the one that's chasing down a ton of it. But Eric Jones, just an intriguing outlier to me, especially at plus 350 for a top 10. The top 10 odds have been kind of new. So I know that if you're looking around for value, you got to look outside of the guys that you count on every week to be at a top 10. He does have a top 10 finish in 2022. If you look at our friends over at iFantasy Rage, which you know I do, the next gen average finishes here, he comes in right at 10th place. Now, granted, he's got 2 races to a lot of these people's 3, but his average finish here, 13.3 in the next gen era. I mean, he's the 15th fastest as far as the speed rankings heat chart for Ryan over at iFantasy Race. Just a nice, solid guy that can, if things go right, and we know that Legacy Motor Club has taken a lot of strides to make their cars faster this season, and I think Eric Jones could benefit from that. And being back on an oval, thank you very much. Last one he was on, he finished 5th in Atlanta. He finished 11th at Michigan, 7th at Nashville, 13th at Charlotte, 5th at Texas. So good solid runs, right? 15th at Miami. Good solid runs on non-road course or super speedways for Eric Jones. So I like that.
Yeah, and it's so funny because Eric Jones was a guy who really caught my attention, and I think this number is really good at ESPN Bet. I did neglect this, I will say, because I saw him in a lot of other books like plus 210, plus 230, and that was just too short for me. But this actually might be something I give a thought, really, Rod, because not only does he have the finishes here at Dover, like you alluded to, but he comes in 15th in the projections, and that's with not even racing last year. So he took a big ding because he didn't get any points for his average position last year in this race. So I agree with you there. And while the run at Bristol earlier this season, terrible, Darlington just okay, he had a top 5 average running position that day in Nashville, and he got that P7 finish that you said too. So like he's getting better. This entire organization is getting better. So I'm kind of with you here, honestly, too. And he's also a guy who's won at Dover in the lower series. So Eric Jones plus 350. That's what I'm really gonna have to give a look, honestly, Rod. If it was 4-1, it'd be a smash for me. Plus 350 feels good. It feels pretty decent too, especially considering he's right there outside the top 10 in our projections with a little bit of an asterisk mark there too. So good on you, man. I like this call a lot with Legacy.
Yeah, again, and it's almost like you could flip a coin anyways and put something on John Hunter or on Eric Jones, and it's you'd be happy either way.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been those kind of cats lately. Here we got Stan in the chat saying lifetime top 5 percentages here at Dover, top 10 or top 5. Jimmy Johnson 46% of the time. Chase Elliott 71% of the time. Wow, amazing.
10 of 14. I'm telling you, he's good.
Bob thinking with me. He's got that big brain out there in Dover. He's slapping Barry down for 45-1. I don't like that as much as 55-1. Bob is still a great number. And Kush drinking some Miller High Life tonight. Oh man, Miller High Life. The last time I had Miller High Life, dude, was I was doing like a float trip when I was like a senior, and we ran out of ice like midday. So like by the time we were getting to the end of the float trip, all we had left was the Miller High Life that, someone's buddy gave us or something, or maybe we stole from some kids. I don't remember how we got this Miller High Life. We certainly didn't buy it. But we're floating down this river and we get to the end of the day. And we're like, no, let's try these Miller High Lifes that are lukewarm. Not my favorite beer. And I'm a low budget beer guy, but Miller High Life, a little bit too cheap on a budget for me. What about you?
The last time I had Miller High Life, we were boiling brats in it. So that's the last time I was doing that.
Oh, that'd be a nice little one. I like that. All right, let's get some more placement props here as we keep moving throughout the show. And the first one is just the Blaney top 5. I don't need to give my spiel about Ryan Blaney again, but this was actually down to minus 115 at some books. I originally jumped on at Bet365 at plus 125, Rod. And then I cashed out earlier today because FanDuel, they re-released their top 5 odds. That's why it's always important to be over there at the IVT Racing family, because we'll update the odds and try to keep you guys updated with what we're doing and getting down on. But cash out with that and went plus 140 on the top 5 from Bet365. So when it's minus 115 other places and almost, plus 150 line here at Bet365, I feel good enough to lay 2 units down on Ryan Blaney. And it sounds like based on your handicapping, you also like number 12 car as well.
Yeah, I really do. And I like top 5, especially at plus money, because like you said, this market has been very much torched by a lot of books.
Certainly has. Another top 10 for me here, staying in the placement props, is Kris Bell, top 10 minus 150 at ESPN Bet. This is my gainer for the Cup Series. I'm going 4 units down on it. And it feels like it's been a great season for me betting Kris Bell, knock on wood here, because I can never get this guy right prior to this 2025 season. And I'm not going to make the same mistake that I did last week almost, where I was going to bet the top 10 at minus 110. I switched to the against Byron at minus 110 instead of the top 10, and it was a sweat all day. But we did cash that, so we're going right back to see Bell here. If they're going to give me numbers, bettable top 10 numbers for Kris Bell, I'm drinking the juice, and I don't care, man. Like, this guy had an awful, unlucky, filled weekend last year in Delaware, but before that, he had next-gen finishes of 4th and 6th at the Monster Mile, still 11th in the total speed rankings in this next-gen car. And there are some holes in his game. Like, I'm not going to say the average run position has been dominant here outside that 2023 run where he was great. However, top 10 running position at every comp so far this season, resulting in a 7.0 average finish in that span, the 4th best in the series, and 100% top 10 rate when it comes to the tracks like Bristol, like Darlington, like Nashville. So this is all the way down to minus 250 at DraftKings. So I will gladly jump in over at ESPN Bet, who, I mean, they've come to play this season, man. ESPN Bet, I feel like they're constantly always just, putting out the best lines. It feels like in a lot of these placement prop markets. I'm hoping they don't limit me, because I've actually absolutely took them to school so far this season. But ESPN Bet, once again, laying out a bettable Kris Bell number. I feel like I have to jump on it here, Rod.
Hey, listen, I don't know if they're listening or not. I know BetRivers actually checked in during the NASCAR gambling podcast earlier.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. They were happy. They were like, all right, let's go. We were talking about the BetRivers 200.
Okay.
They were all about it. So the books listen, my friends. They listen. But yeah, minus 150. Again, it's Kris Bell. All he's got to do is catch fire. And this doesn't even have to result in a win. You're covered either way if he does, and if he finishes in the top 10. So I think, obviously, if you think he's going to win, then he's going to finish in the top 10. So this isn't going to lose.
Our friend from Pittsburgh, keeping an ear to the ground over there on the NASCAR gambling podcast. That's probably why some of those lines moved earlier today, is because they heard you guys talking about them and had to move them and get away from the public there. Rod, take us through a couple more Cup Series bets here, starting with your favorite head-to-head matchup on the other side of the in-season tournament bracket.
I would like for everybody to know that I can say nice things about Ty Gibbs when the situation warrants it. Okay.
Well, the real Rod Villagomez, please stand up. Please stand up.
I am not under duress, nor am I being forced to say this by anybody other than myself. I am going, and I agreed with Cody earlier in the week when he said Ty Gibbs is going to be a top 10 car. So I do believe that is the case, and I do believe that Ty Gibbs will finish better than Tyler Reddick in this race. Ty Gibbs fans are rejoicing all over the world because I'm finally on your side. I get it. His Cup Series finishes here have been 13th and 10th. I mean, they're not anything really to write home about, but in the Xfinity Series, 5th and 3rd. So he's putting it together. And for Ty Gibbs fans, you guys think that he's the second coming. He finished 2nd at Chicago, 7th at Sonoma, 3rd at Michigan, 11th at Mexico City, 14th at Pocono. But other than that, I mean, 9th at Darlington, 3rd at Bristol, right? That's another one that you were bringing up as well. But for Tyler Reddick, his average finish here, 14.5. He has an 11th place finish, a 7th place finish, 30th in the 8 car. So kind of stopped there. But in the next gen era, 7 and 11. For Tyler Reddick, though, the only reason that I'm not picking this one is because I just feel like we're going to see the 21st place Texas version of Reddick, the 17th place version, and Kansas 26th of Charlotte. Yeah, he was 6th at Sonoma, 3rd at Chicago, and 4th in Atlanta, but Super Speedway 2 road courses. We know Tyler Reddick's good at road courses. So, but he was 32nd at Pocono, 13th at Michigan. So if I think Ty Gibbs is going to be finishing inside of the top 10, I think Tyler Reddick is going to put a strong 15th place or better finish, but I still think Ty Gibbs is going to outduel him. And I'm going to go take a shower now before I have to soak in what I just said.
Dude, no, I actually really love this play, man, because Ty Gibbs 10th in the projections, Reddick 6th, but Ty Gibbs also has one less data point to go off. He didn't race in that 2022 Dover race. He was not in the Cup Series full time at that standpoint. So But he does, Ty Gibbs beats him in Dover next gen average finish. He beats him in total speed rankings during that span as well. And, while it was a pretty tough run at the beginning of the season for this kid, he's turned it around. He was top 5 in average running position at Bristol earlier this year, top 7 in average running position at Darlington. Those are both better than Tyler Reddick, or at least better at Bristol. So I'm with you here, actually, man. I actually think it's a really good value to get him plus 110 over Tyler Reddick. What a comeback for Ty Gibbs, potentially land himself in the championship of the in-season tournament and potentially cash Rod a nice ticket along the way. Rod, round out the Cup Series markets with a little bit of special action you have coming for us down the pike. What is it?
I love me some of these either ors or boths. And if you're going to take a swing at the fence, and especially for Denny Hamlin to win, and I know there's a lot of people that are high on Kyle Larson right now to go out and perform, even though ever since the Coke 600, ever since that weekend, it's just been very, very mundane for Kyle Larson and very uphill battle for him every single week. Well, if you think he's going to bounce back and you think Denny Hamlin's going to win, then why not put them both inside of the top 3 plus 650 over on FanDuel in the specials? Last year, Kyle Larson was the runner up at this race. Denny Hamlin won, right? So it was 1-2 already. And then Denny was 5th in the season before that. Kyle Larson was 32nd. That sucked. But 2021, Kyle Larson was 2nd. In 2019, Kyle Larson won. In 2019 in the spring, he was 3rd place. So you have got 4 of 6 in which he's finished in the top 3 in Dover. And then for Denny Hamlin, obviously that win is really where you're hanging your hat on. He won in 2020. And that's another thing. But again, if you think Denny Hamlin's going to win and you think Kyle Larson's going to have a good run, put them together and you 100% get a much better return than if you were to just bet their top 3s or top 5s outright.
It's super interesting because it's so funny you threw this out, because I was actually even thinking about doing the same thing, but like top 5s for Hamlin and Blaney, since I'm high on both those guys and have outrights both on them. And I remember I did this strategy at Bowman Gray. I hit a top 5 double parlay on Logano and Blaney, and I haven't really done it since. So maybe an interesting way to get involved here with a couple of the big guns in Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. I do like plus 650, but I do feel like if I'm betting this, I kind of have to take that outright on Denny then too, right? Because it's 5-1. So it's like one of these guys are going to win that race. But Bob shouting out the 54, he got it 28-1. Not a bad number at all. Don't hate that at all. So Rod, let's go ahead. Let's round out the program with some Xfinity Series bets for the BetRivers 200. And for our friends from Pittsburgh are watching, we're open to an affiliate deal, baby. Come on down. We're PA boys and gals over here that love supporting BetRivers and the Three Rivers Casino down there in the Berg on the river. So Rod, you and I were both on one of the same drivers for various markets. Let's talk about him first, coming off a big win out there in wine country.
Yeah, so we're talking about Connor Zilisch. I am definitely on him to be in the top 3. Look, Connor Zilisch, like you said, he's just coming off of a fantastic run over there. And for Connor Zilisch, all he's got to do now is just, get better at the ovals. But guess what? He's already been good at the ovals as well this season. And for Connor Zilisch, this is going to be a huge boost to him coming off of that win. And I think nothing short of a top 3 is in line for him, because he's just so damn good right now. When winning at Coda earlier, obviously, right? But second place at Charlotte, second place at Nashville. He won at Pocono. And those are 3 good, solid finishes on ovals or triangle tracks, right? He's just that good. He's just that talented. And I'm really seeing the maturity of that driver. So I love Zilisch. And I love him for a top 3 a top 3 in this.
No, I'm there with you on Zilisch, man. I took a different approach to the number 88 car, but I'm certainly invested in one of my biggest bets of the weekend. Of course, I had to have a matchup. I have to have a matchup like almost every week, or I feel like it's not Seth, right? Like we're going to do a new interactive matchup thing over there in the Discord very soon. I'm excited to roll over. A little bit of a teaser there for you guys, but always got to get invested in a head-to-head, and this week it comes in the Xfinity Series for me. It's Connor Zilisch minus 130 at DraftKings over Sheldon Creed. I went 3.5 units. I laid it down on this one. Not only is Connor Zilisch 3-0 against Sheldon Creed at the comp track so far this season, he has an average finish at those tracks that we mentioned. They're Bristol, they're Nashville, they're Darlington. 6.7 average finish at those tracks. Creed, 17 flat. Creed does have a 7.7 average finish here in Xfinity. However, I'd argue that that was in better equipment overall when he was racing for Joe Gibbs Racing and even Richard Childress Racing, which has rockets a lot of the time here in the Xfinity Series. We haven't seen that same speed out of Haas factory team, like race winning speed, I would say. Like Sam Mayer had a run or two earlier this season where I thought he might be able to, track down some of these leaders because he had great late run hustle, but wasn't able to get it done. Sheldon Creed has not had race winning speed. Like, it felt like he was closer to winning last year. And I just don't think that Sheldon Creed will be good enough to beat Zilisch, who won a very, very competitive ARCA race last year on Friday night. Elliott and I were on that race. And also, he's running so hot right now, coming off 2 wins in the last month. Got to be feeling good about himself in this JGR equipment, potentially moving up to Cup as early as next season. Give me Zilisch over Creed here. Got to be my bet of the week. I love it a lot, Rod.
And for Sheldon Creed, as good as he's been, second place is usually his. It is his ceiling,
yeah.
Right? So, if Connor Zilisch wins and Sheldon Creed comes in second, you're still cashing this. But yeah, Sheldon Creed just snake bitten. It's tough to watch sometimes when he gets on a bad streak. So I like this. I do love this at all. Connor Zilisch, I think he's going to do well, top 3. And like I said, if he wins, Sheldon Creed second, you're still cashing.
You got another bet for the Xfinity Series. You're going to the outright market with a steady veteran that. He was a cash cow for us last year. Haven't seen him in a hot second, though, but he makes his return to Joe Gibbs Racing this weekend in Delaware.
Well-rested driver of the 19 car, Aric Almirola. I know that Bob said he's picking 24 Truex, but Truex is in Sam Hunt. He's not in that Joe Gibbs Racing 20 that he was in when he won last year. Aric Almirola is in that Joe Gibbs equipment, and Aric Almirola already has a win on a mile track this year in Phoenix, and I believe that he's going to be well rested. I believe that he's going to have something for the field. He finished 6th in Nashville. He finished 2nd at Las Vegas. So that 19 car is going to be around the front. I just think at 5-1, that's a good price. You're not going to see that after practice and qualifying because he's going to qualify well, and this is going to get hammered down to probably 3.5-1, if not less.
Yeah, I was trying to find a way to get invested with Almirola. He doesn't have great Dover stats in the Cup Series. That was kind of what made me shy away from him. We also haven't seen him at Dover and Xfinity Series and haven't even seen him at any of these comp tracks so far this season. So I was a little gun shy on that. But every time this guy comes out, he's pretty much a walk-in top 5 to 7. So I don't hate that at all. And Bob in the chat bringing up that he was able to get Ryan Truex at 75-1. And look, I said earlier in the Discord that I'm not interested in betting Ryan Truex this week just because I don't trust that Sam Hunt racing equipment. I was on Christopher Bell heavy for a top 5 in Mexico City, and he blew up on me late in that one. But I would absolutely bet him at 75-1. That's a great number. I know he's in a different car, Bob, but no shame in that. I'm seeing him right now at DraftKings 35-1. I think I'm okay on that, but 75-1, I would take the shot there, Bob. So I appreciate that. I'll go ahead and round us out here. Last bet of the night for either of us. Carson Kvapil top 5 plus 250 at Bet365. I went 0.8 of a unit, so just under a full unit for me. Nearly won the ARCA race here last season. Nearly won the Xfinity Series race as well. Finished second on that Saturday afternoon with an average running position of 11.2. But that could be a lot higher because he was a top 5 running position car almost all day, but that number's deflated a little bit because he did start towards the back in P26, made his way up in that JGR, which he was running the 88 car last season. Also had the second most speed late in a run that day, 7th speed, best by segment speed as well. And average finish of 5.3 at these comps so far this season, man, including P5 at Darlington, P2 at Bristol, to only Kyle Larson. So I know Elliott would be upset with me if I didn't mention Carson Kvapil. So Rod, thanks so much for hanging out with us, man. I know you got So You Like Sports.com. You got the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Anything else we should be on the lookout for Hot Rod Villagomez this summer, man?
No, that about covers it. Yeah, just if you like obscure sports, So You Like Sports is for you. I got rugby. I got darts coming up. All kinds of crazy stuff for you.
Love it, man. And as far for us here at IBT, the easiest way you can support us is if you rode with us this long, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the whole channel if you're new. We've got NFL betting, college football betting, NASCAR betting, PGA betting, and even entertainment betting, all to help you cash more and to enjoy the ride along the way. If you want more of Rod, myself, and the entire IBT media family, consider joining the IBT Racing family. The link for that is in the episode description, or get entered into our memorabilia giveaways. You're going to get access to our weekly exclusive betting model and join the conversation on Discord, as well as some fun interactive things we have coming very, very soon. And again, next person to join, they're going to get the autographed Joey Logano polo for free. So $3.99, you're going to get a Joey Logano signed autograph polo. Be sure to check out inbetweenmedia.com for some written content and upcoming live events, including Draft Night Out and the IBT Classic. That's our golf scramble at the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio, at the Pro Football Hall of Fame this August. It's going to be a time, guys. Excited for you. Thank you so much for rolling down the back road. For Rod Villagomez, I'm Seth Woolcock. We'll see you again next time. Thank you.